Hello everyone, I'm Ekaterina and today we are going to focus on modals and modals of deduction for present and future tenses. Now let's start with modal verbs which are used for ability, obligation, advice and necessity. We will look at modal verbs in the present tense and in the past tense. So, ability means kabiliyet, something that you can do, can and be able. And in the past, we use could, was, were able to. Obligation, which is in Turkish zorunluluk, right? And in English we use have to and must, don't have to and mustn't in the negative form. And for past obligations, we use had to and didn't have to. For advice, which is tavsiye, we use should, ought to, and had better. And for necessity, which is gereklilik or also zorunluluk, we use need to, and we can use it in the past as needed to or didn't need to. So let's focus on the ability first. So I told you that with ability we use can and be able to. So we say can do something. We do not use the preposition to with can. I hope you know it. And with be able, yes, we say I'm able to do, yes, he, she is able to do, and so on. We use the preposition to. I have a short video here about babies and the way they see the world. And the task for you now is to watch the video and please fill in the missing information that you can see on the left. Let's watch the video and please try to complete the sentences using can or not able to. Okay, right. Now, hopefully you have you had time to complete the gaps, and to complete the sentences. Now, let's check the sentences together. Newborn babies can see only colors but not shapes. Can see, yes, that's the ability, the general ability. At 2 months, babies can follow objects with their eyes. At 5 months, we can perceive the world in 3 dimensions. At around 5 or 6 months, babies can better perceive color spectrums. And the last one, babies are not able to recognize themselves in the mirror until 15, 18 months. Yes, so we use this can be able to when we speak about general abilities to do something. Now, what about past abilities? How do we use can and be able in the past? So for can, we use could. We don't know how fast ancient Greek athletes could run. Yeah, again, it's a general ability in the past. Ne kadar hızlı koşuyorlardı. Could run. For be able to, we use was or were able to. We can use was or were able to instead of could to describe past ability in general, like in this sentence, Mozart could or was able to compose little pieces of music even when he was 5. So we're speaking about his ability to compose different pieces of music. It's his general ability. But we can also use was or were able to say that we achieved something difficult at a specific time. So we managed to do something. Look at this example. Since the exam was difficult, only few students were able to pass it. So only a few students managed to pass it. Yeah, we're speaking about this specific exam at that specific time. Sınavı geçebildi. Sınavı verebildi. We were able to reach the top of the hill before it got dark yesterday. Again, it's a specific, it's not a general ability. Yeah, we're not speaking about something that we could do in general, but that's about that specific event that happened yesterday and when we climbed the hill. So I hope it's clear. Let's move on to obligation. Now, what is obligation? Zorunluluk. And we have two modal verbs for that, have to and must. And they are different. Now, let's look at their differences. We use have to describe what is necessary, a rule or something we do because other people tell us to. So it comes from the outside. Yeah, the obligation comes from the outside. In France, you have to drive on the right. Yeah, so have to means zorunda, right? In England, most school children have to wear a uniform. By the way, the first one, yeah, you have to drive on the right. So it's a traffic rule, something which comes from the government, yeah, from the outside. That's why we use have to. Most school children have to wear a uniform. Again, it's a school rule, yeah. It's something that again comes the obligation that is given to you by someone else. John has to wear a tie at work. Yeah, so probably his boss wants him to wear a tie at work. That's why we use has to in this case. So zorunda, kravat takmak zorunda iş yerinde. You can also sometimes see have got to. Yeah, have got to is also can also be used to express obligation. So it's the same as have to. I have got to go to the class. Must. Must is used to describe something we personally think is necessary and important to do. So it's the obligation that comes from my personal well, from my personal opinion, yeah, from myself, I must get up early tomorrow. There are a lot of things I want to do, yeah. So it's something that I need to do, yeah, something that I must do because, yeah, I have some things to do, yeah. So it's an obligation that I have for myself. Sorry, I really must go now. Yeah, again, that's an my personal something that I think is necessary for me, and that's why I use must here. So an easy way to remember the difference is that we use must for some personal duties, yeah, for something I think is important for me to do, and have to is used for obligations to help others, or have to is used with obligation that come from the outside. In the negative form, we have don't have to and mustn't. These two modal verbs are also very different. The meaning of these verbs is different. Don't have to, yeah, and doesn't have to, and we use it for he, she, it. They express absence of obligation. Yeah, so don't have to basically means yapmaya gerek yok. It isn't necessary to do something. You don't have to do the washing up. I've got a dishwasher. So it actually means that it isn't necessary to do the washing up. Yeah, of course you can do it if you want, but it's not necessary to do it. She doesn't have to work on Monday. It's her day off. What we want to say is that pazartesi günü çalışmak zorunda değil. Çalışmasına gerek yok. Well, she can work on Monday if she wants, yeah, but she doesn't have to. So, çalışmasına gerek yok. With mustn't, that's different. When we use mustn't, we think, yeah, we say that the action is against the rules. Or, well, any action is against the rules. Like you can see here in these two pictures, yeah. You mustn't eat or drink in classroom. That's a rule, yeah. And when something is against the rules, in this case the classroom rules, yeah, we use mustn't. You mustn't use telephone in the exam. So mustn't means yapmamalısın. You mustn't throw things in the science lab. It's dangerous. Yapmamalısınız. Atmamalısınız. That's the meaning of mustn't. What about the question form? In the question form, we use have to with do, of course. Yeah, we don't use must in the question form because it sounds rather formal. But we make questions with have, okay, and of course with do or does. Do I have to sit here? Burada oturmak zorunda mıyım? That's the meaning of this sentence. So I hope it's clear with don't have to and mustn't. And let's look at the past obligation. So what do we use instead of have to and must in the past? So instead of have to, we use had to do something. And in the negative form, we use didn't have to do something. So had to do something means yapmak zorundaydım. Didn't have to do something, yapmak zorunda değildim. We don't use must in the past, okay? There is no form for must in the past tenses. Let's look at the examples. Had to. Athletes who cheated in the Olympic Games had to pay for a statue of the god Zeus. In the ancient times, of course. Yeah. Ödemek zorundaydı. And an example was didn't have to. Of course, in ancient times, athletes didn't have to take a drug test. Yeah. It wasn't necessary to take those drug tests. Yeah. In ancient times, that's the meaning of didn't have to. In number one, it's later than I thought. I must go. That's okay. I must start work every day at 8:30. I have to start work, yeah, because it is something that's the policy of the place where I work, right? Comes from the outside, the obligation, which comes from the company where I work. Number 3, I must remember to call Sarah tomorrow. Is this one correct? Let's check it. Yeah, that's okay. I must remember, yeah, my personal obligation. What about number 4? I couldn't get a taxi last night. I had to walk home, not must. Last night, yeah, we cannot use must. In the past, we use had to. What about number 5? You must come and see us again soon. Is it okay? That's okay. Yeah, that's okay. Tom, number 6. Tom isn't going out this evening. He must study for his exam. Is this okay? He has to study for his exam. Yeah, has to is the correct variant here. Yeah, exam at his school. That's an obligation which is not. It's not his personal obligation. Yeah, but it is something he has to do because of some rules. Yeah, because of his school rules that has exams. 7. We can't go the usual way because the road is closed. We must go another way. What about this one? We have to go another way is correct. Yeah, because the road is closed, so it's something that we don't choose to do it. Yeah, it's not our personal decision to do it. Yeah, but we do it because of the situation. Yeah, because of the situation outside. So that's why have to is the correct variant here. Okay, let's go on. With the past obligation, I also have a short text here about children who lived in the 19th century in Britain. Yeah, those children had to work long hours. They didn't go to school because their families were poor, but they had to work a lot. The first paragraph has been already done for you, but let's read it together. And what you have to do here, yeah, you have to complete the sentences using had to, didn't have to, could, or couldn't. And we'll see the difference between had to and could in this text. So let's read the text together. Life for children in the 19th century Britain was very different from the life children lead today. They didn't have to go to school. Okula gitmek zorunda değillerdi. And in any case, their families couldn't pay for lessons as they didn't have enough money. Couldn't pay, zaten ödemiyorlardı. Aileleri zaten fakir oldukları için para ödemiyorlardı ders için, okul için. ödeyemiyorlardı. So, children had to find jobs at an early age, starting in the coal mines, for example, at the age of 5. İş bulmak zorundaydı. Had to find. Now, we have 2 more paragraphs to go, so please try to do them on your own. And I'm going to read now the sentences to you. Children were also employed to clean chimneys. They had to climb up chimneys and clean them. Using children for this job was banned in 1840, but employers then had to use special brushes which were expensive, and so they continued to use children. Had to and had to, right? After the Factory Act of 1833, employers of textile factories couldn't employ children under the age of 9, though children aged 9 had to work 8 hours a day. Yeah, they couldn't employ children. İşe alamıyorlardı. Age 9 to 11, I'm sorry, 2 is missing here. Aged 9 to 11 had to work 8 hours a day. Okay. Let's move on and speak about necessity. Necessity, zorunluluk, gereklilik, something that we need to do. Yeah, I need to do something, or don't or doesn't need to do. And in the past we use didn't need to do something. Actually, need to do something, yeah, is the same as have to do something. It's not a modal verb. It can be used in all tenses. And needn't, yeah, we also can say needn't, is used with the same meaning as don't need to, that's the same, and don't have to. Needn't means basically the same as don't need to and don't have to. What about these sentences? You need to work harder. Do I need to bring my dictionary? So the first sentence basically means in Turkish daha sıkı çalışmak zorundasın. Daha iyi çalışmak zorundasın. Do I need to bring my dictionary? Sözlüğümü getirmek zorunda mıydım? Yeah, did I need? She didn't need to wear an evening dress as it was an informal party. Yeah, so didn't need to. You remember that it means didn't have to. Yeah, the same meaning as didn't have to. So it wasn't necessary for her to wear an evening dress. We don't know whether she wore the evening dress or not, but most probably she didn't because it was not necessary for her. Giymesine gerek yoktu. Değil mi? O elbiseyi giymesine gerek yoktu. Didn't need to. That's the meaning basically, which is the same as don't have to. Need to means is similar to have to. I have an exercise here, and it's called Test Tips for Maths. That's about maths and the things that you need to do while solving mathematical problems. Please rewrite each sentence so that it contains the word in capitals. We have need to, need to, and needn't. Yeah. Please try to do the exercise on your own first. Pause the video now. Okay. Now Let's read the sentences together. Hopefully you've done all of them. You need to think about all the information given. Yeah, it's important for you to think about all the information given, and which means you need to think about the information given. Yeah, it's important. Düşünmek zorundasın. It's necessary for you to identify all the necessary steps to solve a problem. You need to identify all the necessary steps to solve a problem. It's important, it's necessary, you need to, zorundasın. It's vital for you to be able to use methods of multiplication and division. You need to use methods of multiplication and division. Yeah, you need to. It's vital for you. It's very important for you to use them. Don't worry about spelling, but you should be as accurate as you can. You needn't worry about spelling. Yeah? But you should be as accurate as you can again. Please also needn't worry. Yeah, pay attention to this one. You needn't worry. No preposition to. Yeah, you needn't do something. Needn't do something. Needn't worry. You don't have to worry. Yeah, about spelling. Okay, I hope that's clear. And let's move on to advice, tavsiye, right? So, which modal verbs do we use to give advice in English? We use should, ought, and had better. Had better has also a short form which looks like this. Yeah? Better, de better. We use them with the verb without to, no preposition to. In the negative form, should not or shouldn't, had better not or ought not to do something. Okay. What about should and ought to? Should and ought to, we use them to express an opinion. Yeah, we usually say something like, I think you should do this and that. I think you ought to do this and that. So we express our own opinion. We also use them to give advice or talk about the correct thing to do. Basically, they mean the same, should and ought to. Had better. That's a different one. We use had better to say what we think someone should do. And generally, we use had better for specific advice, especially when something bad may happen if the advice isn't followed. So if someone does not follow your advice, some bad consequences may follow. And we also use shall to ask for advice. Let's look at the examples. Do you have a headache? You should take an aspirin. Yeah, that's my piece of advice. Aspirin alabilirsin. You should take. Aspirin alman lazım. We can say it in this way as well. You had better wear your raincoat. It's going to rain. What does that mean? So you had better wear your raincoat means paltonu giyersen iyi olur. İyi olur. Had better wear. It's going to rain. So it's something that's a bad consequence. Yeah. If you don't wear it, you will get wet. That's why we use had better here. One more example was had better. You'd better not wait too long. You'll be late. Çok uzun beklemezsen iyi olur. Çünkü geç kalırsın. Yeah, so if you wait too long, you will be late. So that's something that's a bad consequence, right? What about shall? Yeah, we can use it to ask for advice, and we use it like this. What shall we do tonight? Yeah. Ne yapabilir? Bugün ne yapalım? Bugün akşam ne yapalım? Neler yapalım? Yeah, you don't know what to do, and that's why you're asking your friends about it. All right. That's this is Drew here, and he's a travel blogger. He's a real travel blogger, by the way. You can Google his name if you wish. And here are some useful tips for tourists visiting a foreign country. And now, Drew is giving some useful tips to you. What does he say? So he says you should learn in a few phrases in the language, in the native language, local language. Yeah, local people like that. You should learn. Öğrenmeniz lazım. What else? You'd better keep your money in a safe place. Paranızı güvenilir bir yerde tutarsanız iyi olur. Yeah, you'd better keep your money in a safe place. You shouldn't carry it in your pocket. So it means that if you do this, yeah, if you don't keep your money in a safe place, someone can steal it. You shouldn't leave the main tourist areas. Some districts can be dangerous. Yeah. İşte uzaklara gitmemeniz gerekiyor. You ought to avoid drinking tap water and eating unwashed fruit if you are in a remote area. İçmekten kaçınmanız lazım. Yeah, like you should avoid. Yeah, you ought to, you should. So please remember that we use should and had better and ought to give advice to someone. Yeah? Right. So here I have a short exercise that's about storms. Yeah, and you have to choose the correct modal verb for each sentence. You can pause the video now, do the exercise on your own, and now let's do the exercise together. So you can see the answers here. Recent experience of storms shows that everybody needs to play their part to avoid major problems. In general, if you don't have to go out, then you should stay at home. Yeah? If you don't have to, eğer çıkmak zorunda değilseniz, I'm sorry, then you should stay at home. Evde kalmanız gerekiyor. As for school pupils, if public transport is not affected, then they must attend school as usual. But if the journey looks dangerous, they mustn't take any risks to reach school. Yeah, must and mustn't are the correct variants here. Working adults must decide on the best way to get to work, but anyone who is driving and comes to a flooded river must not attempt to cross it. That's a rule. Yeah, we're speaking about rules. Must not. Yeah. So remember that we use mustn't for restrictions, for rules, when something is banned to do. You mustn't switch off your electricity and gas is at the mains now, but if your house starts to flood, you must do this immediately. You should listen to the radio to hear any flood warnings, and houses that are at risk ought to have sandbags ready to block doors. Ought to, should, yeah. So that's a piece of advice. Yeah. So let's move on to requests, asking for permission, and offers. We also use modal verbs for in all these cases. What about requests? So you know that a request is a way of politely asking someone to do something. To ask someone to do something in a polite way, we use can. But for more formal situations, and if you want to be even more polite, you use could or would. Let's look at the examples. Can you help me with the computer? Yeah, so that's okay. That's quite polite. Yardım edebilir misin? Could you help me with the computer? Yeah, that's also okay. It's just more polite. Would you help me with the computer? I'm asking someone. Yeah, not me actually, but the granny. Yeah. Do you think you could help me with the computer? Do you think you could? Yeah, we can also use it as a polite form of request. Do you think you could? Would you mind helping me with the computer? Would you mind plus verb ing. Would you mind doing something? Helping with the computer. As an answer, yes, as a reply, we can say sure, of course, no problem. Or if you cannot do it, you can say something like, I'm sorry, but I can't. I must work, yeah, or I'm sorry, but I can't. I have some other things to do. Yeah, if you can give a reason, that's also. If you can give an excuse, yeah, that's also good. Okay, can and could, yeah, and would. Permission. What about permissions? Permission, which it means izin. Yeah, we ask for permission when we want to be allowed to do something. Can is quite polite, but if you want to be even more polite, you can use could, do you mind if, or may, which is quite formal. That's a question, yeah. I'm asking for permission. Yep, most probably I'm speaking to my boss and I'm asking him or her, can I leave early? Yes, you can, or no, you can't. That's the reply. Could I leave early? Erken çıkabilir miyim? Right? Do you think I could leave early? So again, it means the same, but just more polite. That's all right, sure. Sorry, but... Yeah, and you can give an excuse here. That's the reply. Or you can use may, that's very formal. May I leave early? Or do you mind if I leave early? That's also possible. Do you mind if I do something? Erken çıksam sorun olur mu? Not at all, no problem. Or, sorry, you can't. Yeah. Or something like this. Okay. Offers. Yeah. We offer something. Well, offer means öneri, right? For offers, we use shall, would you like, or can. We make an offer when we ask if someone wants us to do something or say that we will do it. Like in this dialogue, shall I turn on the light? Işıkları açayım mı? Yes, please, or no thanks. Would you like me to speak to him? Onunla konuşmamı ister misin? Can I help you? I think that's clear. Yeah, making an offer can also mean asking someone if they want something. Would you like a glass of water? Yes, please, or no thanks. Would you like? Yeah, it's also used very often when you offer something to someone. It's quite polite. Okay. That's an exercise about with the sentences to rewrite. Please rewrite the sentences so that the sentence so that it contains the word in capitals. Please try to do it on your own first. Pause the video now. Let me show you the answers. Is it all right if I keep my coat on? Mind. Do you mind if I keep my coat on? Do you want me to give out the books? And we have to use shall. Shall I give out the books? Could you explain what this means? Do. Do you think you could explain what this means? Do you think? Yeah. Do I have your permission to leave the room? And we have to use may. May I leave the room? Can you share with Mary? And we have to use mind again. Do you mind sharing with Mary? Yeah. Do you mind if I do something, or do you mind plus gerund, verb plus ing. Do you mind doing something? These are the two ways we can use do you mind in sentences. Okay, let's continue. That's a short summary of requests, permission, and offers. Yeah, so which modal verbs we use with requests? Mostly could, would, yeah, and can. Can is also used with permissions, for permissions, yeah, and with offers, we can use can and would. So basically, can be used, is used, yeah, everywhere. It's quite a general form, quite a general modal verb, and you can use it anywhere. Okay. Now, the second thing is the second topic, that this is modals of deduction for present and future. Let's look at these three sentences and let's try to guess the meaning of the modal verbs that we have here. We have can, can't, or couldn't. We have must, and we have may, might, or could. Yeah, they can be used with the same meaning. And here, on the right, you can see the meaning of these of the modal verbs. We are almost sure that something is true. It is possible that something is true, or we're almost sure that something is impossible in the future or in the present. Let's read the sentences first. Bill says he is short of money. No, he can't be broke. I lent him $150 yesterday. He can't be, or he couldn't be broke. What's the meaning? What do you think? So we're trying to say that no, that's impossible that he has no money. We're almost sure, almost, 100% sure that he's not broke, that he has money. What is Bill doing? He said he was tired and went into his room. He must be sleeping. So we know that he went into his room. We know that Bill is tired. He must be sleeping. So we're almost sure that this is what he's doing in this moment. Yeah, must be sleeping. Uyuyor olmalıdır. Yeah, uyuyor olmalı. Uyuyor olmalı. Okay, look, isn't that Liz going up Bahariye Street? Where may she be going? Or might, or could she be going? I don't know. She may be going to the cinema, or she might, may, or could be going shopping. Well, and the same can be used here. May be going, might be, could be going. The meaning is the same. So we have the last meaning here. It is possible, we're not sure. It is possible that something is true, that Liz is going there at the moment. Yeah. So, for certainty, possibility, for positive certainty, yeah, for possibility, and for negative certainty, we have three different verbs. Yeah. We have must when we're 100% sure that this is what is happening now. We use must plus the main verb, without to, of course. When we are not sure 100%, but we say that something is possible, we use could or might or may plus the main verb, of course, not to. And when we're sure that something is not happening at the moment, yeah, that something is not true because of the evidence we have, we use can't plus the main verb. Let's look at this example. So look at this picture. What can you deduce from this picture? What can you infer? Yeah? Deduce, by the way, means to reach an answer or a decision by thinking carefully about the facts that we already have. This is deduction. Yeah? Çıkarım. Deduce. So we see a man here. He's exhausted. He has pills everywhere and tissues. So we can say that he must be sick. It's very clear. Yeah, we see that. We see it from the picture that he is sick. He may have the flu. He might have the flu. He could have the flu. It's possible that he has the flu, or it can be he can be allergic to something as well. He may be allergic to something. I'm sorry. He may be allergic to something. And not having a flu at the moment. So we're not sure, we're not 100% sure. And that's why we use might, may, or could. Or we can also say he can't be feeling good. It's very clear that he is not feeling good. Yeah? İyi hissediyor olamaz. Right? So it's the same in Turkish actually. You use the same structure in Turkish. Now let's have some practice. You have to use the modal verbs must, can't, could, might, or may to write sentences that make guesses. Yeah, so basically you've got to rewrite the sentences that you have here. Now, please take your time, write the sentences on your own. Pause the video now. Now let me show you the answers. That woman drives a very expensive car. I'm sure she has a lot of money. And we've got to use must. That woman drives a very expensive car. She must have a lot of money. Yeah? I'm almost sure, I'm almost 100% sure. You've already eaten enough for 3 people. You're definitely not hungry anymore. Can't. So I'm sure that I'm sure 100% that you are not hungry. You've already eaten enough for 3 people. You can't be hungry anymore. Yeah, that's a negative certainty. That's negative certainty. We're certain that something can be true. There is a possibility that this cup of hot milk will help me sleep. So we should use one of these. This cup of hot milk may help me sleep, might or could help me sleep. All of these are possible. Well, I'm not sure 100%, but it may help me sleep. There are some weird lights in the sky tonight. Perhaps they are the aurora borealis. May, might, or could. Okay, what's the answer? There are some weird lights in the sky tonight. They may, might, or could be the aurora borealis. Yeah, we're not sure, not 100% sure, but that's possible. I'm possibly interested in going to the cinema tonight. I like the film you want to see, but I'm not sure I have enough money. Could. I may, might, or could be interested in going to the cinema tonight. I like the film you want to see, but I'm not sure I have enough money. Again, I'm possibly interested, yeah? So I don't know. Let's summarize very quickly what we've had today. So modal verbs can be used for expressing ability, obligation, for giving advice, speaking about necessity. We can also use modals to ask for permission, to make offers, or to request something. And for deduction, to deduce the information, we use must, could, may, might, and can't. Thank you for watching the video, and goodbye.